Wow, Facebook friends, it's Friday, it's noontime, and we are here in the beautiful setting of the Cascades area. And I'm privileged to be here with an amazing man of God, and I'm going to give him the opportunity to introduce himself to you, and then we'll draw amazing nuggets from him today. Over to you.
Well, thanks, Pastor Greg. It's an absolute pleasure to join you. I'm going to take my mask off so that I'm not muted. We do have um,
Our social
quite a
distancing.
substantial social distance here. It complies certainly to the minimum 1.5 meter.
That's good, that's good.
So yeah, well, it's great to be here. For those that Pastor Greg has already said, my name is Reynold Easthorpe. I'm the franchise owner of the Express Employment Professionals Pietermaritzburg franchise. It's an international franchise, and we'll talk a little bit more about that just now. I also serve as the executive director of the Aluminium Beneficiation Initiative. So, in terms of work, most of my time is spent on the latter at this point in time.
Fantastic.
But I run the Express business as well.
Yeah. Well, Reynold, first of all, I say thank you once again for your willingness for us to conduct this interview with you. Having had coffee with you the other day, and again, over a period of time of engaging, I've realized you carry so much. Maybe just give us a bit of history about your life, just your life experience, and how you ended up in this whole thing of business, which is now one of your key passions.
Yeah. Well, it's been quite a journey, and a lot of people have asked me the question, so why are you where you're at compared to where you started?
Yes.
I started life off with intentions of becoming a medical doctor. I think we lost that plot like a lot of people have in our matric days.
Yes.
But ended up at university, studied first year BSc with the intention of rather doing pharmacy.
Yes.
But found that wasn't really my passion. So when I left that, I came back to Pietermaritzburg, having gone to Cape Town to study.
Right.
I came back to Pietermaritzburg and joined Hewlett, what was then Hewlett Aluminium.
Yes.
Hewlett were offering a metallurgical technicians training program, and it worked well for me because it gave me the opportunity to study and to work at the same time, so earn a bit of an income. But yeah, that's where it all started. It was studying metallurgy,
Yes.
qualifying in that particular field.
Right.
I must admit I got a little bit bored in the technical side of things.
Yes.
And I then went to my boss at that point in time at Hewlett and asked if they possibly had something in the commercial field. And that's the route that I took.
Right.
I left metallurgy, did a BCom, entered the world of commerce, into the world of sales and marketing at Hewlett Aluminium, and spent a lot of time in that particular field. Eventually got involved on the expansion projects, the one at Macro, was involved in some of the conceptual engineering, the basic engineering side, and of course the market development side.
Right.
And then in 2004 I left Hewlett. And the reason for leaving was that I felt that I wanted to do something a little different. I really enjoyed entrepreneurial development. I saw lots of people out there, and on an informal basis, I got involved with trying to assist people.
Yes.
And eventually, a friend of mine actually challenged me and said, "Goodness, you help all these guys. How about you making this your own business? Do it for yourself."
Right.
And I thought about it, prayed about it, and then I think that's what I ought to be doing. So I left.
And then that led you to the MBA.
Well, I did the MBA a lot later.
Yes.
Because of the time that it takes to develop a business, the energies that are absorbed in trying to do that.
Right.
I found that the time to study and to do an MBA just wasn't there.
Yes.
So much later on, I did the MBA, but since 2004, I've basically been in business on my own.
Yeah, I like that because oftentimes people make the assumption that business is quick and easy, and now you having first done some studies, getting into Hewlett. I mean, that's an amazing project out at Macro that shows that you gained a lot of experience there. But still, when you were starting pioneering your own business, that must have been a challenge in itself. So I suppose over the period of time you were involved in different facets of business.
Sure.
Then you ended up with Express.
Yeah.
Now, how did you end up getting to this place where you own this franchise? So building it, just give us some nuggets from there
Sure.
that anybody listening today, Facebook friends, sorry, by the way, if you're joining us for this interview, please host a watch party or share the page or say something. We're having this incredible interview here with Reynold Easthorpe. Reynold, over to you again, yeah.
Sure. So Express Employment Professionals was a company that was owned by a friend of mine.
Yes.
I was doing consulting at the time, was looking for a few more projects, things to do, and I was invited by the then owner of Express Employment Professionals, the lady with the name of Carolyn Dyes, and some.
Oh yes, yes. I've seen on your Facebook she seemed to have been quite a key person involved in
Sure.
Express
So,
at the time.
so
Yeah.
Carolyn had moved, and her business was there, and I got involved in working with her business, assisting to some extent.
Yes.
And almost as a natural progression, I bought the business. So a few months after getting involved in just
Right.
trying to assist to if you like, grow the business.
Right.
I saw the potential of it. I liked the idea of the franchise. As I mentioned, when we started Express as an international franchise,
Right.
if one looks at it, head office in Oklahoma City,
Okay.
in the US, and it's an organization that has 900 franchisees worldwide. It's growing in Africa. It's growing into Botswana and the various other parts of the world where it is growing. And I just looked at it and I liked the idea. I liked the idea of the people component. Yeah. I liked the idea of the people development side. I liked the idea that the founders of the business were rooted in biblical principle. Right. And that appealed to me. So I bought the business not knowing too much about recruitment or the staffing sector, and have grown into it.
Yeah, it's such an intricate part of discipleship, the whole thing of journeying alongside people, bringing the best out of them, helping them to identify an area that they could get involved in and make a career of it. So it's a really holistic kind of profession to be involved in.
Sure it is, and like I said, the people component to me is critical. Often we look at organizations and we look at institutions and we focus on an organization or an institution, but sometimes we don't appreciate that organizations and institutions are ultimately people.
Absolutely.
So the focus ought to be people.
Yeah.
And you spoke about the aluminium beneficiation, is the move a little bit from Express. Yes. ABI is also about people.
Yes.
It's about entrepreneurial development.
Okay.
It's
so the whole Express area is helping people find jobs or careers, or help them grow in their career path. But ABI is actually just helping them from the bottom up.
Yeah. So similar components where Express looks at a candidate or a person looking for a job and a client. On the candidate side, we wanted to find people jobs.
Yes.
When it comes to the candidate, the client side, what we wanted to do is to become strategic partners to clients so that we are able to add value to what it is that they need to accomplish through people strategically. And we want to be seen as a strategic partner. That's important. I often say to people, as a staffing solutions company, what we want is to be considered in the same vein as a company might consider their attorney or their accountant. Right. They'll say, I have an attorney, I have an accountant, and I have a staffing solutions strategic partner. Yeah. That's the objective.
So when you want to expand your business, or you're looking at diversifying, they can come to seek advice or even ask you to help them find the right people.
Absolutely.
With respect to those areas they want to expand in. So ABI then is really primarily focused on helping people develop their businesses.
Yeah, it's a critical part of what we are wanting to do in this country. Yeah. Entrepreneurial development is key to the development of any economy. And if one looks around in many different parts of the world, you'll find that sector is the backbone of a growing economy. Yeah. So it's no different here. If one looks at this country, we're looking to develop entrepreneurs.
Yeah. I was sorry to interject. I was shocked about a year ago when they had Entrepreneurial Week in South Africa. I discovered only 5% of South Africans are entrepreneurial. Well, are actively involved in entrepreneurial ventures. Yeah. That means there's a massive space there for development. So
absolutely.
ABI. So then, if somebody's out there and they have a business idea, how would what you do help them to be able to conceptualize the business and really get something practical on the road?
Well, maybe we should put into context what we mean by a business idea
Yeah.
and what sector we're talking about. We
Right.
are talking the aluminium industry.
Oh, the aluminium industry, right.
So, Aluminium Beneficiation Initiative, as the name suggests,
Yes.
is linked to the aluminium sector.
Okay, right.
And what we're looking for are entrepreneurs who have ideas that relate to downstream manufacture of aluminium products.
I see.
And those entrepreneurs could be relatively new in terms of the fact that they have a startup,
Yeah.
or they could be
Somebody
people
already
that
experienced
already have
operating
some
it, but they want to
experience
grow.
operating, exactly.
Yeah.
They may not necessarily be in the aluminium field. I think of engineering companies that have
Yeah.
the capacity or the capability to make various products out of other materials.
Yeah.
I often say to people, well, could you possibly use aluminium? Could
Yeah.
we make that product out of
That is amazing, because the people that they've already got the skill set, because they're working in the, let's say, the steel industry, and now he has a different product they can work with, but the same skill set they have, obviously with some adjustments, they could really make something thrive and grow. Reynold, I'm looking at our time. We got about 2 minutes more, and I'm just thinking, I know you're a passionate believer, you love Jesus. So what are some of the key kingdom principles that you would like to share with anybody out there? Because it's not just about business, it's doing business God's way.
Sure.
And people use that phrase flippantly.
Yep.
Maybe share 1 or 2 insights in that.
Well, thanks, Pastor Greg. Yeah, I think it's important, and possibly the starting point is right at a phrase which I hear many people use, and that is about a kingdom economy.
Right.
So, kingdom, I think we understand, well, I hope we do,
Yes.
but economy, sometimes we look at it and say, so how do you put these two things together,
Yeah.
kingdom economy? So I look at it and say, when one talks about economics,
Yes.
and you know, for those that have studied economics or read it, but you'll know Adam Smith had this definition of economics.
Yes.
What was it? It was focused upon scarce resources.
Right.
So my point of departure when it comes to that, when one thinks of biblical principle, is there scarcity in the kingdom of God?
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that that definition of economics might be flawed?
Yes.
Because when one thinks of scarce resources,
Yeah.
I understand the context from a physical perspective, but really, is
Yeah.
God not in the business of multiplying resources?
Right. Right.
So straight away, when one talks of a mindset, and a mindset is critical, before one comes to the practices, there's a mindset that is required. You know, the other is Keynesian economics and macroeconomics and
Right.
stuff that goes with capitalism, etc. There's a large focus on money.
Yeah.
Now, you're in business and you need to make money. You need to measure
That's a
the
given,
metrics
you gotta
that
make
you
money.
have to make money, otherwise rather get out of business.
Yeah.
Things like profits and revenues and cash flows, etc., are very important. But when money becomes the focus,
Yeah.
then there's a problem. So from a biblical perspective and a mindset that is related to the kingdom of God, one has to understand that money is not the focus.
Yes.
In fact,
It's not an end in itself, it's a means to an end.
it's a
Yeah.
means to an end.
Yeah.
It should be a result.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is that we need to understand. You know, there's much more that we can talk about in terms of that.
Yes.
The
I'd like to
principles. Sure.
tap into that more. You know, maybe we could do another interview another time where we could tap into the concept of like what you're explaining, because it's really profound that people still struggle to reconcile the kingdom and the economy.
Yeah.
They see them as opposites, and yet they are intertwined.
Yeah.
And you know, the other day you were talking about Deuteronomy 11, the whole thing there,
Absolutely.
which is another ballgame. We can't open it now, but just before we go, just you want to share 1 or 2 keys that have been core to your growth, core to you doing business, that you've acquired over the years, or some principles.
Yeah, I think a core approach or principle to me has to do with decision making in business.
Yes.
You know, business is about solving problems, and when you're solving problems, you have to make decisions. So
Yes.
the temptation is there to rely on one's natural thinking, your abilities, your experience,
Right.
your education, etc. What I've learned along the way is that when I do that, I don't do as well as when I go and ask God for His wisdom.
That's powerful.
So, as an absolute key principle, I believe that it's important for us to dig down deep and get an understanding of the wisdom of God. You know, the Bible speaks, the book of Proverbs speaks over and over again about the need for us to search for wisdom.
Yes.
You know, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. People ask, well, what's the difference? You know, knowledge, I've heard somebody say, is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, and wisdom is knowing not to put it in fruit salad.
Right.
You know?
It's true. It's
So,
true.
you know, there's this knowledge that you have, but how do you apply wisdom in terms of that? So we have knowledge, and what I've learned is that with that knowledge, I can sabotage my success if I
Yes.
don't apply wisdom.
Yeah.
So I would encourage anybody that is really trying to seek what it is that they need as best for their business to look into wisdom. I know we've got to conclude, and one last thing,
Yes.
a quick story. George Carver Washington,
Yes.
you can go and Google him. You'll find that in the 1900s he was able to liberate the south of the United States from a dependency on cotton. How come, or how did he do it? He went to God and he asked what could be done with the peanut.
Right.
And in the space of 10 days of being shown by God what he could do with a peanut, he found 300 different products.
Wow.
Now, he has a peanut and he has 300 products. This is what I'm talking about in terms of having wisdom and
That's
insight.
coming from God.
It's the difference between calculation and revelation.
Right.
And there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
revelation will always trump calculation.
Always. Reynold, that's so profound. Man, Facebook friends hardly even referred to you. I was so engrossed in enjoying the insights and the revelation and just Reynold's journey. So Reynold, I want to say thank you. And I know that at the bottom of this interview, there'll be Reynold's contacts. You could even look at the previous posts where we told a little bit of his life's journey. If you want to get in touch with him, and having sat with him on at least 2 occasions now, specifically talking about this, I've come to learn that his passion is to come alongside entrepreneurs, emerging, startup, or people who experience, and journey with them so they become the best version of themselves, and their businesses represent the kingdom. Gonna say goodbye to the guys?
Well, yes, firstly, thank you once again, Pastor Greg, for this opportunity. It's been great. And to all of the Facebook friends and everybody else that might get to watch this, you know, you've heard what Pastor Greg said. I want to come alongside of you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for just being part. I consider you to be part of my journey insofar as you having participated in this. So thank you very much. And God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Reynold. God bless you guys. See you next week, Friday, and I've got something exciting for you. God bless. Bye-bye.